Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about Mercury Circle's debut record, Killing Moons, out October 8th on Noble Demon. This album has 10 tracks, 63 minutes in length, and they are a Finnish dark rock band. Now the structure of this album is really interesting. Think about it as a journey. You know where your starting point is, you have an idea where the destination is going to be, and you have your road ahead. As you start walking down that road, the scenery starts to change because you're not standing still, you're moving, and with every step, things seem different. That's exactly how this album comes across. At first glance, it feels very linear, very balanced, very cohesive from top to bottom. But the moment you start diving deep into it, you start to see the changes happening. And those changes allow the record to be very engaging and allow the record to have incredible playability from beginning to end, never feel or sound repetitive at any single turn. And this gives strength to the individuality of the songs, and then that individuality of the songs gives strength to the collective, to the album itself. Once you get into the soundscape, this is a very rich sounding album. It has a lot of different things coming at the listener. Folk elements, goth rock, dark rock, new wave, orchestrations, just so many different things for you to go through on every single track that really allows the listening experience to be a pleasurable one, and one that you really have to take your time in order for you to really absorb everything that this album offers. So it has diversity of approach, it has diversity of execution, while using the same elements sung in and sung out. A record that doesn't live off of just one element. You cannot look at this album and say that it's a drum-driven record or a guitar-driven record or the synths drive the experience. No, it's the collective of all of them coming together as one, pulling the listener towards the same direction. That's what keeps you grounded. That's what keeps you coming back for more within this album. The atmosphere of the record is very consistent on the other hand. You see the versatility of sound, and then above it, the atmosphere that's created on every single song is a very dark and somber one, almost like different shades of gray. That's how you can look at this album. The sound is going to give you something else to process, something else to enjoy with every single track that comes at you. But the atmosphere that comes out of those songs is always dark, is always somber, like I said, just perhaps in a different kind of shade. Now when it comes to the drums, I really like the drums on this record because they don't have a one-size-fits-all approach from the first track all the way to the last. They're very diverse. If the song has more of a rock feel, they feel more natural, they feel more warm. If the song has more of a new wave electronic vibe, then the drums go exactly into that arena with a more electronic sound attached to them. So they're very diverse, they're very eclectic, but they're always there to serve what the overall design of the song was all about. Same thing could be said for the guitars. They don't drive the experience, they're just another element. They're just a passenger on this journey that you're going to be on as you start listening to Killing Moons and as you progress through all 10 tracks. The guitars are just there to kind of create the ambiance, create the soundscape, give you the diversity of approaches, stay connected with the tracks, stay connected with the atmosphere, stay connected with the songs themselves, but never necessarily jumping into the forefront, demanding attention and being that crucial focal point that you're going to gravitate to. The synthesizers perhaps feel a little bit more like that. They feel like they demand a little bit more attention. That's maybe because of the impact that they have on the atmosphere. While the other two elements impact the soundscape directly, they don't have as much of a strong impact in terms of how these tracks come across. But the synthesizers do, the electronic elements do. So because of the impact that they have in the atmosphere, you perhaps feel them a little bit more into the forefront. You feel like they're taking the lead above the other two, but in reality they're not. They're just part of the consortium of elements, the consortium of instruments, or the consortium of attributes that this record has, and how it's sliced and diced and provide to the listener on every single track. On top of all of this, you have incredible vocals. If there is one pillar that holds the foundation of this album, is the vocals. Not just the consistency of the vocals, but the consistency of the quality of the vocals on every single song. Sure, I like the layers, I like the backing vocals, I like the humming, the choir, I like all the little flares, all the little nuances that got added to the vocal lines on this album, because it gave life to the record, it gave a little bit of a heartbeat, perhaps even soul to the whole album. But the consistency, the delivery, the tone, song in and song out, it's definitely the foundation of this record. Absolutely phenomenal. If there's one thing that's perhaps a little bit more consistent throughout, is the incredible performance as far as vocals are concerned. The vocal lines are magnificent. The energy, the emotion that they give, really encapsulating not just the lyrics but the themes of the songs and where they wanted the listener to go on every single track. They're really there to be the narrator. They're really there to be your guide of your journey that you're going to take from the first all the way to the last track. This is one of those albums that the more you get into it, the more lost you become. It really works almost as quicksand. When you're on quicksand, the more you move, the deeper you go in it. And this album feels a little bit that way. At first glance, you listen to it, it has an impact, it has an immediate impact, and you go back to it. But then the more you go back to it, the deeper you go, and the deeper you go, the harder it is for you to come back out of it again. So it's an album that really will immerse the listener into it, and it's going to be very hard to leave that atmosphere that it creates for the listener, that sense of comfort that it has in the darkness that it offers. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with You Open Up the Earth. Great intro. It moves really well. It has such a rich overall sound. As the song gets started, you just start to feel all the different layers coming at you. Really well done. Great orchestrations. It creates a little bit of a somber atmosphere that starts to linger. It starts to build. It's not fully developed yet, but you start to feel the shapes of that atmosphere right from the get-go, right from the beginning. The vocals come in and they add even more to that somberness. They add even more shape to that overall atmosphere that starts to become a little bit more real the deeper you go into this song. The verses feel very stripped out, and then the chorus brings a lot more energy to the forefront, and that becomes the dynamic. It becomes almost that sunlight in the morning as the sun is rising. So you go through the dark period of the song, the night time, if you will, in the verses, and then that chorus hits, and that is the sun rising and all the beauty and all the energy that comes with it. So I love the movement that this track has from verses to chorus, the sense of darkness to light. It really becomes the DNA of this song. It's perhaps a little bit of the DNA of the whole record, really well represented in one single track. Next, you have Seven Archangels. The opening trumpets and the female humming is just out of this world, really matching the theme of the song to perfection, because you really feel like the angels are blowing their trumpets. Just magnificent start, magnificent opening. It comes in with a little bit of a folk ritual sound to it, which I really like because it matches also the theme of the song and the overall nuance and the overall atmosphere that starts to be created. Mixing in some electronic and synth sounds starts to morph the track a little bit more. So this is a song that with every step that you take, you're adding layers to it, and you're mixing all of these layers together. So the song is gaining volume, is gaining presence, is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger with every single second that goes by. And I love that because it gives you a sense of moving forward and becoming a larger track. It has a little bit also of rock and new wave sounds coming in, so it becomes super eclectic as you start to see all of these different layers that perhaps at first glance don't belong together, but on this track they really feel like they complement one another, and the track starts to move smooth and smoother with every single second, with every single progression. You see the way the footprint of the song starts to be created in those first steps and how it starts to move along. The vocals bring in the soul to the track. While sonically the song has a heartbeat, the soul really comes from the vocals and the overall vocal performance. A track that has ebbs and flows between the verses and the chorus. The chorus is super catchy, and so that adds also to the hookiness that this song has, not just vocally but musically as well. It's a very hooky and catchy song all around, but the chorus, the simplicity of the chorus really nails it home, becoming a track that's very dynamic, but it's not dynamic in an abrupt way. It moves smooth, it transitions very smooth from verses to chorus, allowing the track to have not only a heartbeat but also a soul. Last but not least, Avalanche, a very doomy sounding track. The atmosphere of this track really feels almost just like a doom song all around. The vocals, with the layers that they have and the effects that get added, really create a sense of an echo through the walls of this song. Think about the pit, think about darkness. This song has a little bit of that, but then the vocals just echo through it. So there's a sense of life at the end of that dark tunnel, and that's kind of the energy that this song brings. It has moments where there's more energy, and then there's moments where that energy is a little bit depleted. This allows the track to have a bit of movement and not be stale, not be stagnant. For a track that has this doomy vibe, it moves very well. It doesn't move fast, but it moves well. It kind of drags you through it. It almost feels like you're being dragged through the floor as you progress through it. But it's a song that still has some movement, and that's really important. It's a draining track at the same time, so if you don't have that movement, the fact that really drains your energy, it takes everything from you just for you to go through it, it would make the song perhaps become a little bit overbearing. So the fact that it has some movement, it allows that draining effect to not have a negative impact in the listening experience and be a song that feels very connected all around. And I love the bass on this track because it really pops. It's really noticeable, you really feel it, and it creates a little bit of a shape. It starts to create a box that allows this song to exist within it. This is it. Mercury Circle, Killing Moons, out October 8th on Noble Demon. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.